Good evening. Thanks for joining us. This is the Azure Gov Meetup. We've got an awesome topic tonight. It's about what's next. So we're always looking at the next tech horizon, and tonight we're talking about emerging tech impacting US government. So for those who like social media, we'd like to see you on our hashtag Azure Gov Meetup. Please join our conversation. So tonight, we're very happy to host you, myself, Karina Hami, and Vishwas Lele. I'm a senior director at Microsoft, part of the Azure Government Engineering team in Washington, DC. And Vishwas is CTO at AIS, and he's also a Microsoft MVP. So we both started this organization, I'd say over 5 years ago, reaching almost 4,000 members, and we're really excited and thank all of you for joining us tonight. It's really all about you, the community, and about us having a great conversation on best practices. So that's a great segue of why we're here. Really, Vishwas and I had over coffee when the product Azure Government was just released, I think just a couple months into it. And cloud was pretty new in government, and we really wanted a free and open space for people to have conversation, to share best practices, to discuss kind of what are the capabilities, look at case studies. So really creating that community, showcasing innovation and talking to one another. So that's what we plan to do tonight, and every month we gather every month. Typically we try the last Wednesday of every month if we can. Thanks for joining tonight, and we'll be here next month as well. Please, join if you haven't our Meetup platform. We also have a LinkedIn group, and of course our hashtag Azure Gov Meetup. So with that, the next date is June 23rd. We're getting our summer plans in gear, so we'll have those dates out to you soon. As in every meetup, this is really all about volunteers. So really, all our speakers tonight volunteered their time. So thank you to them, a very special thanks to them for doing that. If you have a great topic or speaker idea, we really want to hear from you. So send me an email. You can message me over the meetup. I'm on LinkedIn, however you like, but we'd love to hear from you. Please RSVP to our next meetup. We'd love to see you there and spread the word. So with that, I'll hand it over to Vishwas. He's going to talk about Microsoft Build 2021 highlights. So in only 3 minutes, that's what he said. We'll see.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you for the introduction. So I have this unenviable task of giving you the highlights of Build 2021 in 3 minutes. And there are hundreds of announcements. And if you've been following the stories and the news stories, there have been hundreds of announcements. I thought what I would do is just whet your appetite for the key announcements, and then you can go back and look at it. So here's the first slide, and I promise I have one more slide here. So I'll start out with the first bullet here. So there are constant improvements to Azure AI. There are new services, video analyzer, document translation. But my favorite one is there's this new ability to do managed endpoints. What does that mean? If you're a data scientist, if you're trying to deploy a model, all of that work needed to productionize that endpoint is being done through the managed endpoint. And I'll talk about a very interesting OpenAI GPT-3 model, which is available as a managed endpoint. And we'll talk later about PowerFX, how that uses it. If you've been using API management and you're looking for WebSocket support, that was announced. If you've been following the Azure Synapse roadmap, there is now the preview of 3.0.1 and then also the hardware acceleration preview. Azure Purview, which is the data governance tools as part of the Azure platform, and Microsoft has stated this all along, and as part of this announcement, they are making MySQL and Postgres available as part of Azure Preview, so you can do the data lineage through those databases along with Azure SQL database. And then .NET 6 Preview 4 or something like that. Now you can do .NET multi-platform UI. So you're writing an application that you want to run with a single code base across Mac, Windows, and Linux. You can do that. And for some of the government customers who are watching this, Azure Security Center, this has an ask that I've seen questions in the past. Security Center now showing up your container scans. And then last but not the least on this slide is Azure App Services and is now Arc enabled. What does that mean? So previously, your services like data services and AKS were Arc enabled, and now other capabilities that are part of Azure App Services are Arc enabled, which means you could be running instances of those on-prem on another cloud and maintain them through the same control plane that you have done previously with Azure App Service. So if you could go to the next slide, please. A few more updates that I thought were interesting to point out. Azure Confidential Ledger. This is, I have not seen this service in another setting. So this is, think of this as a tamper-proof register for storing your sensitive record keeping, auditing, multi-party, all of that. So that's a pretty interesting capability that was announced. Microsoft Graph, many of you use Microsoft Graph today. It is now available as a metered service, which means you're paying by the consumption. And then new connectors were announced in the preview. So if you wanted to go scan Jira or Confluence and bring it as part of your Graph queries, you can do that. Teams, it almost seems like every time you use Teams, you're getting some new goodies. And I scanned carefully. We still don't have tune out the dog barking in the background yet, but I think the team is working on it. The next one, and I wanted to tie it back to the first item that I had, Power Platform, which is, remember I was talking about the managed endpoints. So Power Platform announced something very interesting. So if you can read the text on the side, the teaser here, today, if you're building a Power Platform app, and if you're trying to do some filter operation, you would have to type filter it by product name equals something. You have to type that, you have to know the syntax. But powered by the GPT-3 OpenAI, you can actually type it in English language, show me all orders where the product name starts with kids, and it will translate that into that code. Pretty powerful capability. And then last but not the least, if you're a user of Edge, capabilities like sleeping tabs, and that is appealing to me. I tend to open hundreds of tabs at the same time and forget to close them. And now, if you're not using those tabs, those resources associated with those tabs will go away and be applied to the ones that are active. So that's Karina as a whirlwind tour of all of the updates. If you're wanting to look into details of the things that I've talked about, you can look up the Bill 2021, the Book of News, and you will get a lot more information. So thank you.
Hey, thank you, Vishwas. All these sessions have been recorded. So also, if you're really interested in any of these topics, go back to the Build website and check it out. So that's really out there for everybody. I really encourage that. And yes, I also have tons of tabs eating my resources. So excited about that. So with that, I really want to pass this on. And again, thank you for all the speakers. We have the leading Microsoft Azure engineering folks who are really leading this space in emerging tech. So we're going to have an awesome conversation about Azure Space, where we have Steve Kate and Chirag talking about Azure Space, and then followed with Paul Tillman with Azure 5G for government. And then rounding it off with Jim Perkins, who's going to talk about Azure Intelligent Edge for national security. These are all amazing kind of components of emerging tech that we can build into our solutions for the government mission. So again, thank you for amazing speakers here tonight. I would encourage you reaching out to any of these SMEs, and they've got great stuff for us. So with that, we look forward to amazing conversation with Steve and Chirag. If you have questions, please IM them, and if we have time, we'll go through them during our discussion. If not, we'll be sure to IM you back.